Edgar here again from Career Services with another quick blurb. I found something very interesting that you guys might want to know about. It takes a look at today's American listening audience. This was quite interesting because there's two companies that conduct the survey. There's a quirky way of doing it by phone. I don't know how they do it. I'm assuming it's a bit like telemarketing, but not really. Edison Research and Triton Digital. They recently released their annual Infinite Dial survey on American media consumption. The meat and potatoes of the whole thing is number one, 71% of all Americans now have a cell phone. That's up 10 points from last year, which is a pretty big increase. More and more people consume their media on cell phone mobile platform, which is no secret. A lot of us do it. We've continued to do it as it becomes more accessible. Number two, embattled Pandora is still the leader in music streaming with 54% of online radio listeners. That's a little over half, which is pretty big. And then the runner-ups are pretty distant with iHeartRadio 11%, Spotify at 10%, and iTunes Radio at 8%. Now here's the clincher. I've preached this before, and I'll zoom in so you guys could see that numbers don't lie. This is factual here. Let me highlight this so you guys could see it. Facebook is the most used social network at 65%. Which is more than half. It's increasing in size because with the introduction of other social media platforms like Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, and whatnot, Facebook ups the ante to compete with these types of platforms so they don't get ousted, I guess you could say, with social media. Because let's face fact, social media has been king in this area for quite some time, and it's even big in the age group of 12 through 24. That's interesting, very interesting. Kind of lets you know where your target audience is and who's the one that's actually going to be seeing your content on social media. 43% in that group still use Facebook. They're beating Instagram at 18%, which is kind of ironic because Facebook does own Instagram. But their competitors such as Snapchat and Twitter, Snapchat's at 15%, Twitter's at 8%. But that's kind of relevant to this other article that's before I jump to number 5 and 6. There is this article that, let me shift to that real quick. So there's 4 general social media rules. I never knew there was such a rule to do anything, but it makes a lot of sense because of the user psychology. And yes, there is a user psychology. Everyone knows it. That pertains to a lot of other subjects that are relevant to what we're talking about. But if you're looking at the various networks, doesn't matter what platform, there's really 4 general rules that work across virtually all of them, and they're kind of like the rule of thumb for you to just kind of not be so excessive is the term. But rule 1 is to space your posts out during the day. I learned this the hard way with the content that I was doing when I was playing in a rock and roll band. Regardless of the social network, people hate it when one poster dominates their feed. Even for a few minutes. I'm sure you guys have seen this on Instagram repeatedly and on Snapchat. When you see a Snapchat story of at least over 100, which is really annoying. The one exception to that is that it might be a breaking news event, like say an earthquake. God forbid that ever happens. But even then, it's best to leave a bit of time for others to be able to post as well. And be sure you engage. That's rule number 2. Respond to comments as quickly as you can. This isn't always possible, it states here, but commenters expect and appreciate a timely response, meaning engagement, engagement, engagement. All these social media websites are not based on likes anymore. That's why you see a decrease in your likes and your followers all over your platforms. because there's a lot of fake accounts that try to fish and try to clickbait you. All the social media networks are trying to get rid of that, which is great. Understand proper hashtag use. Don't, okay, it says here limit your hashtags to 2 at most. I say about 5 or 6. Why? Because our industry is a little bit different. There's a lot of things you can tag, like Pro Tools, music production, Cubase, Logic Pro, Apple, MacBook, all that stuff, Adobe, whatever the case may be. It's more effective because people, for some reason, are under the notion that that users don't search hashtag, which is nonsense. They're always, I say about 50% of the time, that's what they're doing, especially if they're in this thing called SEO, which is search engine optimization, which is another topic that I'll get into later. But rule number 4 is entertain and inform your audience first. It's important to promote and market to your audience, but doing it often turns followers off and will just lead to fan attrition, which means disinterest. A good rule of thumb is the 80-20 rule, where you're never promoting more than 20% of the time, and even that can be too much. But going back to the other page, it's irrelevant to this next platform, which is YouTube. I'm big on YouTube. I love YouTube. It's my one-stop shop to do a lot of things, and quite frankly, they treat new artists and independent artists alike very well. 63% of Americans use YouTube to watch music videos and listen to music. The number increases to a whopping 90%. It reads here, ages 12 to 24. Again, that's your target audience. It's not, Tom, Dick, and Harry down the way who are entrepreneurs listening to probably nothing, that are in the 54 and up category. No pun intended, but these are the facts. This is where you want your content, your marketing strategies to be targeted, because these are the people that are eating it all up. Hence, streaming revenues, merchandise revenues, mechanical revenues, which is seldom seen now, but you can still sell mechanicals. Believe me. What's the other one? Stickers, hats, decals, all that stuff. Think outside the box here. Think kind of like a clothing company. It's the same exact way. You need a strategy. You need social media. Now it's a standard. There's no other way around it. This is the standard to communicate and to market yourself independently. But 44% of all Americans listen to music online in some form every single week. So every 5 years, it continues to drastically change before our eyes, it states here. But one of the keys to your online promotion strategies is knowing your audience. If you do not know your audience, you're not going to be as effective as you can. You can't market, a culinary or auto mechanic to an audio engineer specifically. That's kind of tailored really weird. It's like trying to fit a size 10 shoe on a size 12 foot. You got to really narrow it down and kind of know your target. If you don't know your target, then you're pretty much just shooting blindly. I mean, you might have the ammo, but what are you aiming at? You're probably not going to hit anything. These are just the facts. The name of the website again is Infinite Dial, but it's done by Edison Research and Triton Digital. I'll paste the link here on this video to show you guys, to kind of give you a hard copy of what they did. They have a whole PowerPoint on what happened. For me, this is really eye-opening because I try to get you guys the best stuff possible, best resources, so that way you can do it.